Welcome back, Magic the Gathering fans. This is part 2 of my Commander deck tech video. I'm upgrading my Mishra's Burnished Banner Commander pre-constructed deck that I recreated by purchasing all the cards from TCG Player. It took me, let's say, probably 6 weeks to purchase all these cards from 25 different sellers on TCG Player, plus all the tokens that you need to play this deck. And I'm going to start with the cosmetic upgrades. So if you're playing Commander deck, one of the nice things about a Commander deck is that you can pick cards that you like to play with aesthetically. So we're going to start with the actual Commander of this deck, the Mishra's Eminent one. This is the foil that comes in the pre-constructed decks, and for some reason they're all pretty badly warped. So I'm going to take out the warped card and put in the non-foil Mishra's Eminent one. And then I'll get to the structural changes next once I get through all the cosmetic changes. Ashnod the Uncaring is also, it's technically the alternate commander in this precon. They both come foil in the pre-constructed decks, and they are both warped. So those are coming out. I'm going to put in a non-foil copy just so it's nice and crisp and clean. Factor Fiction is an instant. If you like alternate artwork, I'm going with an all retro frame deck. So I have two options. I could swap out the Brothers War artwork that comes in the pre-constructed deck with the other one from, looks like Dominaria Remastered. This is Factor Fiction by Anna Christensen. I could also do the original artwork by Therese Nielsen, which does come in the retro frame. So let's try that. Let's take out the reprinted art and put in the original art. If you are a collector, some people like to do that. Soul Ring, same thing. Soul Ring is a very popular artifact in Commander. This artwork is the most printed artwork. The original artwork is the Mark Tadine artwork. You could also go with the borderless Soul Ring artwork by Mark Poole if that's your favorite artwork, but we'll keep that one in for now. Wayfarer's Bauble. I have the retro frame in here, but you could also do the original printing from Fifth Dawn if you wanted to put in original printings. Felwar Stone, same idea. I'm going to go with the retro frame Felwar Stone. You could put in a similar original printing artwork by Quentin Hoover. This is the 4th edition with the white border. If you want the black border, you could get the copy from the dark. Ichor Wellspring, I'm going to swap out. I'm actually going to, any of the artifacts retro frame from Brothers War that have the schematic art, I'm going to put in that because I like that better. That's just me personally. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy schematic artwork as well. Mind Stone was printed in a couple different sets. This is the Brothers War one that stays in. I think one seller accidentally sent me the Dominaria Remastered artwork instead. Commander Sphere is also a popular card in Commander. Many people recognize this artwork. You could also do borderless artwork, also by Mark Poole. I have a number of those signed, but I'll keep that Commander Sphere in. Thrain Dynamore was reprinted in Brothers War. You could do the original printing if you wanted from Urza's, just to give you some examples. The island from Basic Lands, I've had these retro frame Dominaria Remastered islands in my collection for several years, and they are by far my favorite retro frame islands because they're from the Alpha artwork that Mark Poole did. So I'm going to take out these Brothers War islands and put them in the Alpha retro frame remastered islands. I just like those islands much better. And I always wanted to build a Commander deck that specifically used these islands, and since this Mishra's Burnished Banner deck is a Grixis deck, it does need 5 copies of these basic islands. So I'm going to finally get to play with these Mark Poole islands. If you've seen some of my other videos, I've gotten these signed at MagicCon by Mark. Same thing with the mountains. There are 4 copies of Mountain in this Mishra's Burnished Banner deck. They have the reprinted Brothers War art, and we're going to go with the OG Tempest Mark Poole mountain art in this set, he did 4 different panoramic mountain artworks. So we're going to put in 1 of each artwork in this commander deck. And then I think at the next MagicCon, I'll have Mark Poole sign all the Tempest Islands mountains. Just like that. What's your favorite mountain artwork? Could be the original mountains from Alpha Beta Unlimited by Doug Schuler. Could be the Arabian Night Mountain. Mark Poole did do this artwork. It's similar to the Tempest Mountains, but I think this is recreated for Brothers War or Commander Masters. You could play all 4 of those if you wanted. Path of Ancestry by Elaine Danner. You could put original printing. I'm going to keep the retro frame Path of Ancestry in there. And then finally, I think Swamp is our final basic land. They have these artworks in Brothers War. I will take those out in favor of, you guessed it, Mark Poole, Commander Swamps, basic Swamps. Take out those 4, and then I'll put in these 4 copies. These only had 1 artwork, but they're coming in. All right. And that's all the cosmetic changes that I'm going to make to this deck for now. The second part of this video, I'm going to stick to the structural changes and suggest 15 cards that I would take out of this deck in place of 15 cards that I would put in this deck to improve it. So all of these cards are coming out. This deck also requires a ton of tokens that I showed you in the first video. You needed copy tokens, construct tokens, goat tokens, Mishra's Warform tokens, inkling tokens, mirror tokens, scrap tokens, Phyrexian mirror tokens, servo tokens, Thopter tokens, Power Stone tokens, which makes this deck kind of complicated to pilot if you're not really good at tokens or don't even have all the tokens. And if you like run out of tokens, you got to use something that represents one of those tokens. So for this reason, my main idea to improve this deck was to take out all of the cards in this deck that relied on tokens and replace them with combo cards that let you cast artifacts and creatures and spells at a discount. So the first card I'm going to take out is actually the Commander. I'm going to take out, let's put this over here, and then I'll show you what I'm putting in a second. So 15 cards coming out, plus all the tokens. I'm taking out Mishra, Eminent 1. At the beginning of your combat, your turn, create a token that's a copy of a target non-creature artifact control, except its name is Mishra's Warform, and it's a 4/4 construct artifact creature. So that's coming out. I'm also going to take out Feign the Broker. Feign the Broker. Sacrifice a creature, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature. You can sacrifice an artifact to create a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token. So coming out. Farid, Enterprising Salvager, Human Soldier, puts a 1/1 counter on Farid. It gains Menace. It also creates colorless artifact tokens named Scrap. So Scrap tokens, we don't need those. Brutaclad, Telcor Engineer, creates tokens. Creature tokens you control have haste, and at the beginning of your combat on your turn, you create a 2/1 blue Phyrexian Mirror artifact creature token, so we don't need those. Feed the Swarm is coming out. That, I believe, is in our spells. It's a sorcery. It destroys target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to that mana value. It's also common rarity. I'm going to take out Chaos Orb 2, which is an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles into their library and then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, you put it on the battlefield. I will take out Thirst for Knowledge. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. I have some other cards that do better for drawing cards, so I'm going to basically swap that for another draw card. Fact or Fiction, we upgraded to the Therese Nielsen artwork, but we're going to take out Fact or Fiction. That also reveals cards and lets you make them into piles. Terrasar's Devastation is coming out. This makes you lose X life, create X tapped Power Stone tokens, so we don't want to use Power Stone tokens, so that's coming out. Idol of Oblivion creates 10/10 colorless Eldrazi creature tokens, so that is also tokens we don't want. We'll keep Wayfarer's Bauble. Oni Cult Anvil, I believe, makes 1/1 colorless construct token, so let's take out Oni Cult Anvil. Servo Schematic creates 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature tokens, so that's coming out. Oblivion Stone puts fate counters on targets, so we're going to get rid of anything that's counter or token related unless it's copy tokens. Trading Post, I think, is the last artifact we're going to take out. This creates 0/1 white goat tokens, and then the final card we're going to take out is the one of the basic islands. So that we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 basic islands, 4 basic mountains, and 4 basic swamps. We'll put in some other land that provides blue or black and improves our versatility of our mana base. So those are the 15 cards coming out. Mishra's Eminent One, Fane the Broker, Farid Enterprising Salvager, Brutaclad, Feed the Swarm, Chaos Warp, Thirst for Knowledge, Factor Fiction, Terrasar's Devastation, Idol of Oblivion, Oni Cult Anvil, Servo Schematic, Oblivion Stone, Trading Post Island, and anything but copy tokens. The copy tokens were my favorite artwork by David Palumbo. I'd saved those for a long time, but we're not going to need any of these, so those are coming out as well. Now, 15 cards I'm going to put in. Starting with the Commander, we're going with Mishra Artificer Prodigy. This is a pretty bad commander because whenever you play an artifact spell, you may search your graveyard, hand, and or library for a card with the same name as that spell, and you put it into play. If you shuffle your library this way, you shuffle it. So in your commander deck, you're only going to have one copy of each card, so it's not going to really search for cards in your graveyard, but it does combo with some other enchantments that will exile cards when you play them, and it puts them back into your library or graveyard, and then this will let you find those cards and play them after they've been exiled. So we're going to put in one copy of Mishra's Artificer Prodigy. You can use the list reprint. You can also use the original printing from Time Spiral, which I will use. So this is going to become a Mishra Artificer Prodigy combo deck. The first creature that combos with that is Thada Adel Acquisitor. 1 colorless, 2 blue. It's a legendary creature, Merfolk Rogue, that has Island Walk. If you want to add in some cards that turn your opponent's lands into islands and give this better Island Walk, you may do so, but I'm going to stick with just this card for now because whenever Thada Adel Acquisitor deals combat damage to a player, you get to search that player's library for an artifact card and exile it, and then that player shuffles his or her library until the end of turn. You may play that card, which is important because if you have Mishra Artificer Prodigy out as your commander, you attack with Thada Adel, you deal combat damage, they will exile a card that you get to play, and then Mishra will play a copy of that card with the same name. So you want to search their library for a card that you have in your library, and then play a second copy of that card for free. So then I'm taking out Farid in exchange for Possibility Storm. This is the combo card that everybody knows. The text is whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it, then exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast that card without paying the mana cost. Then he or she puts all cards exiled with Possibility Storm on the bottom of his or her library in a random order. So this combos with Mishra Artificer Prodigy because when you play it, and you have Mishra out, you exile a bunch of cards, and then you get to cast the card that was exiled that way for free. The next card that combos with Mishra Artificer Prodigy is Blood Funnel. Costs 1 colorless and a black. It's an enchantment. Non-creature spells you play cost 2 colorless less to play, and then whenever you play a non-creature spell, you counter that spell unless you sacrifice a creature. So what you're going to do is you're going to play cards at a discount. You're going to not sacrifice a creature. You're going to let it get countered. Once it gets countered, Mishra Artificer Prodigy will cast a copy of that, and since it's in your graveyard, it will play that card for free. Now, you'll want to be able to find those cards, so I'm going to take out Feed the Swarm. I'm going to put in Diabolic Tutor. You could put in Demonic Tutor or Vampiric Tutor, but those are on the Game Changer list, which I'll talk about in my next video. So for 2 colorless and 2 black, you can search your library for any card and put it into your hand and then shuffle your library. So you're going to use Diabolic Tutor to search for Thada, Adele, Possibility Storm, or Blood Funnel. Several other cards in your deck will search for artifacts, but you want to save Diabolic Tutor for your enchantments and legendary creature cards. I'm going to take out Chaos Warp, put in 1 with the machine. This lets you draw cards equal to the highest mana value among artifacts you control, and you do have some artifacts in here that have casting cost of 8 or 11, so you will draw a number of cards that way. Taking out Thirst for Knowledge, we're going to put in Vandal Blast, which is a pretty popular card. I'm using this for Thada Adel Acquisitor because if your opponent is playing Vandal Blast, you'll get to play another copy of Vandal Blast that way. No, they have artifact cards. So Vandal Blast is just good. You could also use the Fallout borderless artwork if you wanted to. But Factor Fiction is going to come out as well. We're going to put in Cloud Key. I'm going to use Schematic Artwork. Spells you cost of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast, so you could name humans, which would be your commander. You could also name artifacts. Terrasar's Devastation is coming out. I'm going to put in Chromatic Lantern, also Schematic Artwork. That adds 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You could use original artwork if you wanted to. Idol of Oblivion is coming out. Gilded Lotus is coming in to give me 3 mana of any 1 color, which you can use to cast Diabolic Tutor if you needed to. Original artwork is also an option. Mystic Forge is a great artifact for 4 colorless that lets you look at the top card of your library at any time. You may also cast spells from the colorless spells from the top of your library, and you can pay 1 life to exile the top card of your library if you don't like it. Sculpting Steel is going to come in. This is also the schematic artwork, just like Mystic Forge. Here's Sculpting Steel schematic art. You may have Sculpting Steel enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact on the battlefield, so we will definitely be copying artifacts. Like Quicksilver Amulet, there's the schematic art. I'll take out Oblivion Stone, 4 colorless artifact, pay 4 colorless and tap it, and you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. So you could use any of your ginormous artifact creatures. Original art, you could do OG art if you want by Douglas Schuler. You can get this signed at MagicCon. And the final 2 cards I'm putting in are sort of dual lands. I'm going to put in the Dimir Guildgate. It comes into play tapped, but it adds blue or black. So that's slightly better than Island. And finally, Sulphur Falls. I'll take out this island and I'll put in this dual land. It also enters the battlefield tapped unless you control island or mountain, but you may tap it for a blue or red, which helps you cast your Grixis cards. Those are the 15 cards that I'm going to add in. Mishra Artificer Prodigy is the new commander. Thada Adel, Acquisitor, Possibility Storm, Blood Funnel are the combo pieces that can be used at any time. Any of those work. Diabolic Tutor helps you search for those combo enchantments or creatures. We have 1 with the machine. Vandal Blast are the better sorcery cards that we're going to use to upgrade. Artifacts that we're upgrading are the Cloud Key, Chromatic Lantern, Gilded Lotus, Mystic Forge, Sculpting Steel, and Quicksilver Amulet. And the final 2 dual lands that we'll add in to complete our upgrade is the Dimir Guildgate and Sulphur Falls. These are some of the other cards that I picked up along the way that you could consider swapping in. There were some Planeswalkers that I think deserve honorable mentions, like Saheeli Filigree Master. Anything that is related to artifacts or the Mishra cards, Mishra's Bauble, they all have synergy with artifacts. And again, if you wanted to improve your merfolk function of the deck, you could add cards like Spreading Seas, which enchants lands and makes them islands. So those are my 15 suggestions. Let me know in the comments if you like those, what I'm taking in, taking out. The most important thing to take away is that you get rid of all of these token cards that you have to keep track of, and you can just use just the copy tokens and the combo pieces. So that's my suggested upgrades for the Mishra's Burnished banner deck tech. Appreciate everybody for watching today. Stay tuned for the top 10 things I learned about making this EDH deck in the very next video. Thanks, everyone.